Izuka Midoriya. Dad, I've been trying to write down this entry for a while now. Let's start from the beginning. Dad was born to a loving mom, and a walking pile of trash for a father. His life was like any other kid his age, had a few friends, but only one that's important. Katsuki Bakugo. His mom, Mitsuki Bakugo, was close friends with Grandma Inko, so Dad and Katsuki had known each other since they were babies, and had been friends for about as long. This is also when Dad first saw heroes, specifically All Might, in action, and fell in love with the idea of heroes. Becoming completely obsessed with the idea of becoming one. Unfortunately, Dad was then told he was quirkless. And his whole life fell apart. The world treats quirkless people like they're less than human. His old friends turned on him, made fun of him, and even beat him up for no reason. The teachers lowered his grades, punished him for no reason, and let other kids do whatever they wanted to him. And Katsuki Bakugo was the worst of it. Bakugo had gotten a powerful quirk, and everyone treated him like a king because of it. So his ego blew up, a lot. He thought of Dad as below him, and started bullying him more than anyone. Even using his quirk on him. They called him Deku. Someone who can't do anything. His trash dad finally left him and Grandma, making things even harder because it meant Grandma had to be at work more. Making Dad even more alone. And all while this was happening, they kept making fun of his dream. Saying that there was no way a quirkless person could ever be a hero. Even Grandma Inko didn't believe in his dream. But he refused to let go of it. No matter what anyone says. Anyone except All Might. Dad finally got to meet All Might, and asked him if a quirkless person could be a hero. And All Might said no. I know All Might was probably just trying to keep him safe, but I have to disagree with him. I'm sure there are things Dad could have done as a hero, even if they would have been small. But it was probably for the best that he said that. Even if I feel gross for writing that down. I really am a selfish kid. Anyways, after that Dad became depressed. Being a hero was the only thing Dad had hoped for. He'd become so obsessed with it, that without that dream, he felt hopeless. Dad can't live for himself. He always has to be helping someone, otherwise he loses his mind. Luckily, someone in need came to him. Eri. She'd just managed to escape from Overhaul and his goons, and ran all the way to Dad's house looking for somewhere to hide. Dad let her in, and hid her under some dirty laundry, and then pretended to be asleep, which tricked the villains into thinking Eri wasn't there. He also recorded them breaking into his house to look for her, so he had plenty of evidence to give to the police. After the police arrested the villains, Dad met All Might again, who apologized for what he said, and told him that he had been a hero. Which is when they started to become friends, I think. Dad met Naomi for the first time, and adopted Eri. Although he only thought of her as a sister at first. According to Dad, getting Eri made it feel like he'd been reborn. Like he'd been drowning for so long, and finally came up for air. Relieved, but still terrified they'd go back under. That's when Dad became the doting father we know him as. Dad's luck only got stranger and stranger after that thought. Saving Kay from a villain using her as a weapon. Helping me and Kiba by feeding us. Finding Sanson in that jar. He just couldn't stop finding dangerous kids to take care of. So DOC made a deal with him. Making him the head of a new organization called the Midoriya Foundation, which adopts OPCS from DOC and raises them. Unfortunately, giving Dad all those children was a bit much. He didn't trust anyone, so he couldn't hire people, and didn't have any self-worth, so he never stopped working. All that work caused his health to suffer, until he collapsed. I remember the day that happened. I felt fear and sadness for the first time in a long time. I hate how much I enjoyed it. Thankfully, this was when Dad finally learned to worry about his own health, and things have been pretty okay since then. Okay, not really, but he's not been collapsing. Maybe things would have been pretty okay if weren't for the villain attacks. The villain attacks have been really stressing him out. I'm starting to get worried about his health again. Anyway, Dad's personality can best be described as obsessively nice. He'll take care of everyone but himself, and his aggressive niceness in this cruel world is slowly driving him insane. What kind of insane, we'll see. Hopefully the not-so-bad kind. Dad is quirkless as I said, but not all the time. Thanks to Sheena, we can kinda see what his quirk would have been. Repel allows the user to repel themselves away from other things, and other things away from themselves. I don't know how this quirk would be on its own, because Dad always uses a version that's powered up because of Sheena. But when it is powered up, it's really strong. He even fought against Uraraka for a while on even ground. I mean, it was all over when she hit him once, but it was still impressive. Then again, that might just be because Dad's really smart. Now he's learning how to fight with a staff, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from that. Achiko Uraraka. Or as many of my siblings have started calling her, Mamaraka. I'm not normally one to ship real-life people, but honestly I feel like her and Dad getting together could only be a good thing. Help Dad de-stress, help his parents, ECT. And they're obviously into each other, but they just keep avoiding it. Again, normally I'd respect that, but I really think it'd help Dad if they just got together already. It might be good for Uraraka too, I don't know, I'm not a romance expert. I guess I should start talking about Uraraka herself. She was born to a pretty poor family who had a failing construction business, and since her parents treated her so well, and loved her so much, she swore to do everything in her power to pay them back so they could live comfortable lives. Which is completely adorable. Something else she loves is watching people smile. Which is why she decided to become a hero. Uraraka is another one of those balls of sunshine, but she can be more serious than the usual sunshine balls around here, mainly because of how concerned she gets for other people. She's got the girl next door energy. Her quirk is complicated. So the first thing she can do is control the gravity of anything she touches. Either making something heavier, or completely weightless. Then she also has this super body enhancement ability. Making her stronger, faster and tougher than even Kiba, and it's not close. Her power kinda reminds me of All Might. And she's around him a lot too. Wonder if there's anything going on there.